Recording in progress.
All right, good evening. I'd like to call a meeting of the Parks and Community Services Commission meeting to order at 6:32. Commissioner Griggs, would you like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We do roll call, please.
Commissioner Clarence Marrero.
Here.
David Garcia Ariola.
Here.
Gina Griggs.
Present.
Youth Commissioner Eliana Real Gudo. Present. Vice Chair Charles Plummer.
Present.
Chair Kathy Margalotti.
Present. All right. At this time, we can open it up for public comment for any items that are not on the agenda. Okay, go ahead.
Please state your name. One second.
My name is Aaron Placencia. Good evening, members of Parks and Community Service Commission. I'm a resident of American Canyon. I'm here tonight to advocate for Cub Scout Silverado District Cub Scout Day Camp. It's a beloved tradition in our community and request the reinstatement of rental donations of Shenandoah Park to the district. The Silverado District Cub Scout Day Camp, part of the Golden Gate Area Council, is a cherished event that provides invaluable experiences for our youth. This year's theme, Off to the Races, featuring activities such as Rain Gutter Regatta, Pinewood Derby, adds excitement and engagement to the camp, fostering a love for outdoor activities, learning, and community engagement among our youth. As a parent, I've seen firsthand positive impact it has on my children, Quentin and Grayson. They eagerly anticipate this camp each year, and it fosters a love for outdoor activities, learning, community engagement. However, I was disappointed to learn about the recent decision to discontinue rental donations for the camp. This change places a financial burden on Silverado District, potentially jeopardizing the affordability and accessibility of the camp for families in our community. Moreover, I want to highlight the challenges faced during last year's camp when a last-minute change to Silver Oak Park required us to rent additional restroom facilities. This unforeseen expense further strained the resources of the Silverado District, underlying the importance of rental donations to ensure the smooth operation of future camps. Chairperson Margalotti, I want to just your dedication and leadership in both education and community stewardship are very much appreciated, especially by Quentin, who's fortunate enough to be his second grade teacher. Your commitment to our community's well-being is evident, and I trust that you'll consider the importance of reinstating rental donations to this Cub Scout Day Camp. I believe that maintaining a thriving scouting program in American Canyon is vital, especially during a time when recruitment is so challenging. The Silverado District Cub Scout Camp serves as a cornerstone event, instilling values of leadership, service, and community engagement in our youth. Charging the Silverado District full freight for this event could hinder participation and may even result in the relocation of the camp to neighboring communities. This would not only deprive our youth of enriching experiences, but also diminish the sense of community spirit that the camp fosters. Additionally, it's essential to highlight the valuable skills the Scouts learn through their participation in the camp, including first aid, emergency preparedness, firearm safety, knife safety, and citizenship in the community, nation, and world. These skills not only empower our youth, but also contribute to a safer, more resilient, and engaged community. Therefore, I respectfully urge the Parks and Community Service Commission to reconsider this decision to reinstate the rental donations for the Silverado District Cub Scout Day Camp at Shenandoah Park. By doing so, you'll ensure that families like mine can continue to benefit from the camp's enriching experiences while safeguarding the future of scouting in American Canyon. Thank you for your considerations, and I'd like to introduce Grayson, and he has a quick comment also.
Hello, I'm Grayson, and I want to tell you why Cub Scout Day Camp is important to me. I've been doing camp for years. It's always been a blast, but now they might have to move it away from American Canyon, and that's not cool. And I was really looking forward to being a den chief when I turned 14, and helping out the camp. But if it moves, I might not get to do that. And if camp and at the camp, and if we learn a lot of cool stuff like first aid and how to be safe with tools. But it's also where we make awesome memories with our friends. I hope you could keep the camp here so we can keep having fun and learning together. Thanks for listening.
Hi everybody, I'm Quentin and I want to share why being a Cub Scout and helping out in our community is important to me. Trustworthy. We do what we say and trust others to do the same. Loyal. We help at events like Valentine's Day and Scouting for Food. Veterans Day. Helpful. We pitch in with cleanups and at the wetland edge. Friendly. We make friends with our scout packs in our district. Courteous. We listen to what our community needs. Kind. We care for the environment and follow the outdoor code. Obedient. We follow the rules and do what the community says. Cheerful. We always have a positive attitude when things get tough. 50. We take care of our stuff and our packs. Brave. We are not afraid to try new things like speaking at City Hall. Clean. We leave the park cleaner than we found it. Reverent. We show respect for everyone's beliefs. I love being a scout because it lets me help others and make our community better. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other public comment for any items not on the agenda?
No other comments.
Thank you. Are there any agenda changes, proposed agenda changes?
No, not this evening.
All right. So then we can go ahead and move on to our consent calendar. Item number 1, to recommend and approve the minutes for the PCS meeting of it says April 11th, I believe, 2024.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of April 11th, 2024.
And I'll second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Mamero,
Yes.
Garcia Ariola,
Yes.
Commissioner Griggs,
Aye.
Youth Commissioner Real Gudo,
Yes.
Vice Chair Plummer,
Aye.
Chair Margalotti.
Yes. So we're ready to move on to business item number 1, to review the draft fiscal year 24-25 annual work plan.
Thank you, Chair. So we're here this evening to revisit our draft work plan for fiscal year 24-25. We discussed this in detail at our last meeting in April, Just as a reminder, we're going to be taking this to council on June 18th. And as part of a joint special meeting, part of that conversation, the council did ask for a summary from the work plan from fiscal year 23-24, which has been outlined within the staff report with all of the items that we were working on. This, the format of tonight's evening for the staff report is going to be the same format that we are going to be presenting to council. We went into full detail of the recap of where we are today with our current work plan. I just want to revisit really quick if there are any changes that you would like to see to the staff report before we move on to the draft work plan for fiscal year 24-25.
Are there any questions about the current staff report? No? Okay.
Great. Okay. So moving on to the draft work plan for fiscal year 24-25. Again, we talked about this in length at the last PCS meeting on April 11th. I do have a change that I would like to let everybody, let this commission know, but we are going to be moving the PCS joint special meeting up to 7 o'clock instead of 7:30. You will go before the Open Space, Active Transportation, and Sustainability Commission. And so I am going to make a change to the memo to our city council regarding that. So I'll make that adjustment. But based off of what we had discussed and what we would like to focus on for the next year is prepare a request for proposal, an RFP to update the Parks and Recreation Master Plan. Number 2, facility naming of the former Napa Junction Elementary School Community Park 1 and Community Park 2. 3, discuss city park utilization. 4, update the municipal code 12.04.05 for the skate park use. Number 5, discuss fiscal year 24-25 capital improvement program pertaining to parks and recreation projects. And then lastly, plan for fiscal year 25-26 capital improvement program projects. At this time, open it up for discussion and see if there's anything else you would like to add before we take this to council on the 18th. Thank you.
Are there any commissioner questions on the draft work plan for 24-25?
I only have one question, if I might. I know we talked about the updated skate park use, but how extensive is the updates on the municipal code for the skate park? Is it vastly different than the previous one?
Great question. Just briefly skimming over it because we had to update the rules or make a rule sign for the current skate park. We did realize that the municipal code does state that the skate park is in a fenced area, for example. Outside of that, without fully remembering what else needs to be updated, that one really did stand out to us. It did say that the skate park was fenced and closed, and so since now that it's not, we wanted to make sure the municipal code is actually going to meet with what's currently happening. In addition, we did have our rules go through our risk management team, and they did make additional recommendations to add to those rules. And we really want to make sure that those rules that are captured are added to the municipal code as being skate park rules, because there are certain things like, you must have an adult there if you're under the age of 14. We want to make sure that all that stuff is being captured correctly based off of the recommendations from our risk management team.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Is any other commissioner questions on this item? No? Is there any public comment on this item?
No public comments.
Right. I think we might be ready to move on to the next business item. All right. Next business item is the fiscal year 24-25 capital improvement program projects.
Thank you, Chair. So this is, again, something that we've discussed in full length pertaining to our current projects that are currently happening in fiscal year 23-24 and what is planned for 24-25. I would like to just briefly go over this and give everybody an update to where we are, because this plan is actually being taken to council as part of the budget package for fiscal year 24-25, the CIP program, the CIP project budget. So we're rolling over the Newell open space improvements. This is to improve the open space parking lot and the trailhead at Newell. This is currently in design. Just so everybody is aware, we are working with a consultant, and they are currently designing that this project. Wetlands Edge Enhancement Project. This is the outdoor education facility at the wetlands, including interpretive signage and native garden, and the park restroom. The park restroom is actually not part of the grant, but it is part of the project. Again, this is currently in design. We hope to be able to have that design completed soon and actually have a true scope of work so we can get a better understanding of what that cost is going to be. Wetlands Restoration Plan. This is the plan outlining the North Slough restoration, the reclamation, and recreation access project, composed of 3 feasibility studies to be completed by mid-2024. It's funded by Measure AA. I would like to say that it actually went to OSATs last week, and it's going to be going to council on May 21st to be approved and adopted. So we're really excited about that's actually going to be a completed project. Once that is approved and adopted, we'll actually be able to go out for additional grants to see a lot of these things come to life. So we are really encouraging for that plan to be adopted on May 21st with City Council, so we can actually start the work of seeing a lot of these projects come to fruition. Melvin Park Improvement. This is to improve the park along Melvin Road in conjunction with a private development. This includes relocating the playground area from over to the empty parking lot, and that would include a reservable picnic area, possibly some synthetic turf for play, as well as a playground. This is currently, the design has been submitted to Public Works. We're trying to find a park architect to be able to actually draw out what the conceptual design is and actually have a cost estimate. Melvin Tennis Courts. This needs to go out for bid. This is to resurface the Melvin Tennis Courts and restripe for a multi-purpose facility to include tennis and pickleball. We originally had a budget scaled for this project. The quote that we actually got actually came in significantly higher. Those courts are in not the best condition, and that is causing for the higher price. And so we do need to go out for bid and make sure that we are getting the best cost to resurface those tennis courts. Aquatic facility improvements, it's going to go out to design in fiscal year 24-25. Part of that design is going to include enhancing the play pool area. As you recall, our play pool has not been functional for the last 2 years. Unfortunately, there is just a lot of work, and it's just not a functional piece of, it's just not a functional amenity. So investing in trying to replace that at this time, the cost compared to the output, we are really trying to relook at that and come up with a proper use of that area, including resurfacing of the pool deck and resurfacing of the main pool. So we're trying to go out for a design and scope of work so we can actually go back to council with a realistic request of what it's going to cost to update that facility. Northampton shade structure, that's currently out for design. That's to install a shade canopy at Northampton Park in the where the now picnic benches are sitting right next to the basketball court. Northampton Park restroom, as well as Silver Oak restroom, that is out for design as well to install a 2-stall restroom at those 2 parks. One of the biggest challenges with that is understanding where the utilities are. When you talk about installing a bathroom, you need to know where the utilities are and how you're going to get utilities to that facility. So that's part of the design process. Community Park 1 improvements. This is to improve the turf. Like I mentioned earlier before, we actually done a lot of in-house work during the down season, and we're able to restore a lot of that turf from what used to just be dirt. We also have implemented some seasonality to our athletic fields, and I say athletic fields because they're not designed for the type of use that we are using them for, but it's working. And so we have restored a lot of the lost turf and incorporated some seasonality. But the one thing that we do need to still address is the irrigation. And so that's what this project is going to be. We're going to have somebody come in and scope that out and provide a quote to us. So that way we can actually start that project hopefully around in the fall. And the other side to this is we're really trying not to impact our user groups. We are noticing that there is a shortage of field space, and so we really want to make sure that we do this correctly. And we want to understand the scope of work and how long that field is going to be down, because that field is the home to AC Little League as well as the Wolves. So we have to kind of work around their schedules to be able to do this project. Linwood Park improvements. This is to enhance the reservable picnic area and enhance the path from the Adult Activity Center into the park. This needs to go out for design. We have our Recreation Center upgrades. This is the actual project itself is going to be pushed to fiscal year 25-26, with the design occurring the upcoming fiscal year, which is going to be 24-25. And then Veterans Playground Surface, this is part of the repair and replacement project that we all discussed as part of this year's work plan. This actually has been designed. We actually have an estimate, and this is to replace the playground structure and the surface at Veterans Park. And we are just waiting for funding to be able to start that project. Community Park 1 playground and surface replacement. Due to the amount of projects that the city is working on for fiscal year 24-25, including Parks and Recreation and all of the other streets and everything else that we're doing, we actually had to push this project to the next fiscal year, which is going to be 25-26. We have identified it as a project, but just because of the amount of work or projects that are currently slated for this year outside of Parks and Recreation, we had to find something that we needed to push out another year so we can actually be realistic with the timelines. And then lastly, Main Street Park improvements. This is to create accessible access down into the park and upgrade the electrical to the stage. Design is going to take place in 24-25, with the actual project taking place in 25-26. As you recall, this is an LLAD park, so one of the things is we have to understand what the cost of that's going to be and go back to that LLAD and have a discussion with them and make sure that they actually have that funding in their budget to be able to do this project. So first and foremost, we have to have the design, we have to have the cost estimate, and then we'll be able to go from there. And that is it for my update with the projects. Thank you.
Are there any commissioner questions about the improvement projects as on the staff report?
Yeah, I had a question. For Melvin Park, well, not the tennis court, sorry. Are we going to fix lighting out there, or how are we going about the lighting for the tennis courts, or are we just repaving the tennis court?
Thank you, Commissioner Garcia Arreola. I do remember you bringing this up last time, and I believe I had responded with this project actually does not include the lighting, and that it is only including the surfacing of the actual tennis courts, and that we will look into the lighting because we weren't aware that the lighting wasn't sufficient. So that's definitely in my notes to take a look at for the lighting that you've brought up. So thank you.
Thank you for that.
I have a question about the Newell open space improvements. Can you remind me, does this include a restroom, or just we're going to continue with the honey, whatever the little porta potty is?
Thank you. Great question, Commissioner Griggs. So the project itself does not include a restroom. It does include a location for a restroom in the future, but the actual project itself is just to enhance the parking lot and enhance the trailhead up into the first gate.
Great, thank you. And will the parking lot have a gate that's open and closed when the trail is designed to be opened or not opened?
Yes, thank you. Yes, so it's not going to be part of this project. We're hoping to be able to we're actually trying to install 2 gates. And this would hopefully be far before we actually do the parking lot. The first gate is going to be at the parking lot because currently right now we've noticed that during inclement weather, it becomes a muddy mess, and people like to go in there and spin around, and that is a problem. So we want to be able to put a gate there that would prevent people from actually doing that. Secondly, we want to put a gate at the parking lot at the trailhead. We have been noticing that we are having some unauthorized driving on the trail, which is causing a lot of the trail issues out there. I don't know if you've noticed in some areas, the divots are very, very deep, or the ruts are very, very deep, and it's hard to correct that. And unfortunately, we have, even when the trail is closed, where the first gate is locked, we are still finding people driving on that stretch without authorization during inclement weather or when the trail is wet. We've made a lot of progress of trying to, again, bring some seasonality even to that facility, and recognizing when the trail is wet, we shouldn't be walking on it, especially not driving on it. And so we are trying to, we're going to be installing a gate that will prevent future unauthorized driving onto the trail.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Further elaborating into the new open space trail, are parts of that trail going to be like wheelchair accessible for part of the design, or how will that look like?
Great question. So open space is actually not required to be accessible in the sense of in which you're asking. It's considered to be open space. Actually, in our conservation easement, the trail is to be left in its natural condition. That's actually part of open space. It is accessible in the sense of being open to anybody and everybody, but in regards to being paved and having turnouts and things like that, that's actually not a requirement of open space. So that is, we actually can't do that with that property. We don't have that permission from the land trust. It's actually written into the conservation easement that the trails will be left in its natural condition because it's a preserve. It's there for the wildlife, and the people are coming into that environment.
Thank you. And then for are they going to be pouring gravel when they pave the trail, or is it going to look like the wetlands, or are they just going to, or what is that design of the trail to make the trail smooth going to look like, or what materials will they be using for that?
Do you mind explaining that a little bit further?
Yeah, so I'm trying to imagine, like, let's say they're going to design the new open space, right? And there's going to be trails. What kind of material or road base not road base, but material will they be using to make that those trails smoother to walk in? Will it look like the wetlands edge where they poured looks like DG on the ground?
Great question. So the parking lot itself will be some sort of concrete pavement type thing that they do for parking lots. For the trail itself, it's going to be more natural, like I had explained. We haven't really discussed the type of material, either be DG or quarry fines, but it is going to be more of that natural element. Again, trying to maintain the natural environment of that preserve.
Thank you, Director.
You're welcome.
Any other commissioner questions? I have one question. I thought I had, I know what it says on here for the date for Main Street Park, but I feel like I may first at the meetings, the LLAD meetings that were in each area that I attended, our Public Works Director was referencing it getting done. And then I felt like maybe I read something on, I don't know, a city council meeting, but where it didn't really allude to the funding source needing to be the LLAD, that maybe that the city was going to be funding some improvements. Is that something different from this accessibility? And I may be imagining it also, but I feel like I know she mentioned it happening and I knew we had discussed it, but she made it sound like it was sooner. And then I feel like I read something and it didn't reference the extra part of the LLAD, maybe like restricting it happening a little sooner.
Great question. Thank you for that, Chair. So at last council meeting, you may have heard it from the last council meeting. This topic did come up, and we did talk about how we need to go out and scope it. We need to design it. Designing an accessible pathway down into the park needs to be designed by an engineer, as well as the electrical and all that stuff. And to my understanding, and based off the meetings that I've been in, that's going to take place this fiscal year, the upcoming fiscal year 24-25, with the design occurring in 25-26. And I believe that there was some conversation around what are we going to do this year, because we have Juneteenth. And so I believe city staff is going to be working with the Arts Foundation to try to figure that out, since it is a city park. It's a community event that's open to the entire community. So I do know that conversation is most likely going to be happening very soon, to try to determine on what we need to do for this year's event.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there any public comment on this business item?
No
Can I
public
ask
comments.
one more question? Can I ask another question? So this list, Director, is this in any sort of order? Like, for instance, if the Northampton Shade goes out for design and we're ready to put that up, does that have to wait until we get to it in this list, or is it just whatever comes first available as far as design and bids and approvement by city staff, then that will happen?
Correct. Yeah. So this isn't placed in any particular order other than the order in which the project was brought up. So as you'll see PR 13, PR 19. It's categorized based off of the year in which the project became approved by City Council, and you can see in some cases how far back these projects go. For the new open space that was created in 2013, we've been trying to get that done for quite some time now, and there has been some holdup that with some of the segments of the trail from the trailhead into the first gate. There's actually a segment of the property that the city does not own, and so technically we cannot alter or change that trail because we don't physically own that short of property. So we've been trying to really work through that with the Newell family, and really just trying to get that project moving. We are trying to move forward with just the parking lot itself, and then take care of the trail when the trail gets acquired, or if whatever gets worked out. So to your point, a lot of these are in design, and whenever they come, whenever we get the designs back and whenever we can prioritize it with staff workloads, that's pretty much how we try to do our projects. And then a lot of these are coming with funding sources, right? So we really, with Veterans Park, perfect example, we have the scope of work, we have the design, we just need the funding. So we have to wait for the budget to be adopted and approved, and then we'll go back with our Public Works Department and say, okay, here's the calendar based off of everything else that you have planned. What is a realistic start date? So it is really trying to understand what's already on the books, what's currently in the fire, and then what can we start, or what do we need to do next? So it's we do have those meetings, and it is a lot of staff collaboration and understanding what resources we have and where we can allocate those resources.
Great, thank you. I appreciate that. So I'm just thinking that the Northampton Park improvements would be great to have before the summer season. And I'm not sure, Commissioner Manuel probably knows this answer, but I'm not sure if there's a pickleball season that, would be good to have the Melvin court improvements done for, if there's private tennis lessons on the recreation calendar, those kinds of things. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Well, Commissioner Grigson, I guess since you brought it up, there's no particular pickleball season. I mean, to my knowledge, they're out there all the time, which I guess underscores the need for the improvements out there. But it is very well used as a pickleball court.
So I believe you said there was no public comment.
No public comments.
Okay. Any further discussion on this item? No? All right. So then we can move on to management and staff reports.
Great. Thank you so much. I'll try to keep this brief. There's a lot to go through. So pool pool heater update. We are going to be moving forward replacing the heater this coming Monday, May 13th, and hoping to have that work completed by Thursday, May 16th, with reopening that facility to our beloved programs. We do have Water Safety Day on May 18th. That program is still going. We are fully confident that our facility will be up and running to be able to provide Water Safety Day at the Philip West Aquatic Center from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. and then bring back our beloved swim lessons and water exercise, lap swim, and then anything else that we do at that facility on that following Monday, May 20th. So thank you to this community for being so patient during this challenging time. It really was an unexpected maintenance issue that we really could not have predicted or prevented. And so we really are trying to address it as quickly as possible. And we understand how important these programs are. And we are working very quick. We are trying to work very quickly with the resources that we have with getting our pool back online. The Adult Activity Center floors are replaced. Those are done. If you have not visited the facility, that's a completed project for us. It's beautiful, it's bright, it's airy, it's refreshing, and we no longer have black spots on our floors. So if you recall, that project originally got approved by council. We discovered that the vapor barrier was never installed as part of the laminate, and so we had to go back to council and ask for more money to ensure that we had the vapor barriers so we did not have the same reoccurring issue. We are happy to say that all of that is done and completed, and programs that were relocated to the recreation center right next door were brought back on Monday, and everybody's very happy to see the floors replaced. Newell Open Space is going to be going through some trail maintenance. We're thrilled to be able to actually do this and bring this maintenance a lot sooner than planned. Typically, as you know, if it rains, it's really hard to be able to get a mower up there. And so we have to usually wait about 2 to 3 weeks before we can actually get any vehicle or mower up into Newell to be able to mow the trail. In addition, before we can mow, we actually have to have a bird survey. And bird surveys is hiring a contractor to come out and see if there's any nesting birds in the grasses before we can mow. If the bird survey comes up negative, great, we have 48 hours to mow. If it does not, we have to wait. So sometimes, in most cases, and this is why the grasses are as tall as they are, is because of the rain and the bird surveys and just the interesting nuances of that property, because again, it's an open space preserve. We do have to follow certain regulations to be able to do certain things, and in most places we cannot mow until as early as June. So to kind of move around that, we did a pilot program last year with bringing sheep in and having a more natural, organic vegetation management plan. And we thought, why not Newell? So we actually partnered with the American Canyon Fire Protection District, Napa Firewise, and Napa Pasture Protein. And we are actually bringing sheep to Newell starting this Thursday, May 16th. Please bear with us. There will be some closures naturally with grazing. We are going to be starting down at the trailhead from the parking lot and going all the way up to the second gate. The other thing that a mower cannot do is get into our creeks or waterways. And so we're actually going to be able to go a little bit further outside of the trail itself and get down into the creeks and really address a lot of that blackberry, a lot of the plants that we can't ever really get to and really reduce the fire load in Newell. And the great thing about organic vegetation management with sheep is it helps with the tick population, and it also helps with the biodiversity of that property. So it actually is a natural progression and process with the grasses, and it's something that's normal that should be happening. So we're really excited about this program. We're going to be putting some communications out about closures and how long it's going to take. Roughly for the whole project from start to finish is about 5 weeks. So just please work with us. Please understand that we are trying to address this as quickly as possible. The sheep is really a great way to get in there and get to some areas that we've never really been able to address before. So we're really excited about that. We'll put some signage out, but really from May 16th to about May 30th, there's going to be a hard closure. into Newell. So the property will be closed because the sheep are going to be from the trailhead up into the first picnic reservation site. And then from May 30th to June 20th, we're going to open up Newell, and you'll be able to access Newell from the trailhead and go along the south loop, and the north loop will be closed. And then we'll have another hard closure again from June 20th to June 27th because they're going to come back down and out of the property. So we'll have that signage posted, and we'll get that communication out to the community. We're planning on putting that out on Civic Rec, Gov Delivery, the city manager's update. We're going to post it on our city website. We're going to put out A-frames at the park itself so people are aware. If you see a sheep, take a picture, tag us. It's a really fun thing. I don't know what it is about sheep, but people love sheep. So we're really excited about that. And then don't forget, May 27th is Memorial Day. It's going to be a ceremony that we're going to be hosting over at Veterans Memorial Park at 11 a.m. And then lastly, please don't forget, we have our joint special meeting on June 18th. And we have been moved to 7 o'clock. We'll do a very quick city council meeting from 6:30 to 7, and then we'll transition into PCS, our joint special meeting with council at 7 p.m. So please mark your calendars. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. So we can go ahead and adjourn the meeting at 7:13 p.m.
Awesome job.
Did a sheep not trample on a bird nesting?
No, it's actually
Recording stopped.
Eat around the bird nest?
It's like we're like, why didn't we do this earlier?